Welcome to the Explainer. So today we're tearing down something you've definitely heard of, a phishing attack. We're going to walk through step by step exactly how these things are built. And look, we're not doing this so you can become a hacker. It's the opposite. We're doing this to arm you, to give you the knowledge you need to see these things coming and keep yourself safe. Now, the source material for this is actually a public tutorial, and we're going to start with the creator's own words right up front. Think of this as our motto for this whole explainer. This is all about defense, right? Because you can't build a good shield if you don't understand the sword. Yeah, our whole goal here is just to give you that awareness. Once you see just how simple it is to whip up one of these malicious links, you'll get so much better at spotting them out there in the real world. All right, you ready? Let's dive in. All right, first section. When you think of a hacker, you probably imagine someone in a dark room hunched over some crazy, complex computer setup, right? Well, get this. The tutorial we're breaking down shows this entire thing being done on a regular old mobile phone. Yeah, just a phone, using a free app called Termux that basically turns it into a little command line powerhouse. So the very first step is, well, it's pretty boring, actually. It's just housekeeping. Before any of the interesting stuff happens, they run this one simple command. All it does is update and upgrade everything in the app. Kind of like making sure your phone has all its system updates before you install a new game. Just getting the canvas clean and ready. Yeah, you can really think of it like warming up your car's engine. It's just a basic prep step. It makes sure all the software pieces are up to date and talking to each other correctly before we start asking it to do the heavy lifting. Okay, next up, they install a really important tool called Git. Now, if you're not a developer, just think of Git as a magic key for downloading code from the internet. And this is where things start to get serious. And here's the absolute kicker, the most important part. The person doing this doesn't have to be some kind of coding wizard. Not at all. They don't write a single line of code themselves. All they have to know is how to use Git to pull down a pre-made toolkit that someone else built. This is the first big hint at just how easy, how accessible this whole process really is. All right, so the terminal is all prepped and ready to go. The next step? Actually grabbing the phishing software. And you'll be surprised how fast this part is. The whole workflow is almost ridiculously simple. The video literally just shows them opening a web browser, searching for a phishing toolkit on a site where developers share code, and then they just copy the link. That's it. They take that link back to the terminal and use that git command we just talked about to download the whole shebang. And boom, here's the magic command, git clone. And then they just paste in the link. That's all it takes. In seconds, literally seconds, that entire toolkit is downloaded from the internet and sitting right there on the phone, ready to be used. So the files are there. What's next? They just jump into the folder that was just created and run one more command to kick off the main script. And with that, the program fires right up. And just like that, the whole tool springs to life. What you see is basically a menu, a list of options. It can create fake login pages for dozens of huge websites, social media sites, email providers, banking apps, you name it. And the attacker? They just type a number to pick which website they want to copy. Okay, this next part is maybe the most crucial step of all. How do you take this little program running on a phone and turn it into a real weapon that works anywhere on the internet? This is how the trap actually gets set. Well, first, it creates a sort of test version of the fake website. This link only works on the attacker's phone and their local Wi-Fi. It's a smart step, right? It lets them double-check everything, see exactly what their target is going to see, and make sure that, yep, it's actually grabbing the username and password they type in. So we've got these two types of links. The local one is just for testing. It's stuck on their device, totally harmless to anyone else. But the public link, that's the live weapon. So the entire goal of this final phase is to turn that harmless test link into a public URL that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. So how do they pull that off? You guessed it, another free tool and one last command. This script uses a service, in this case a Cloudflare tunnel, that essentially takes that private local web page and pokes a hole through to the public internet. It creates a public doorway to their private trap. And that's it. That's the end game. As long as that phone has an internet connection, maybe just from its mobile hotspot, this final command spits out a live public URL, a link that can be copy-pasted into a text, an email, a direct message, anything. And the second someone clicks it and types in their login info, bam, it appears in plain text right on the attacker's phone screen. Okay, so we've just walked through the entire process, from a totally blank screen to a live dangerous link. What does this all mean? What's the big takeaway here for us, for our own safety online? I think the most jaw-dropping part of this whole thing is just how low the barrier to entry is. The technical skill needed, super low. It's basically just copy-pasting commands. The cost, zero. Every single tool we've talked about is free. And the time it takes, we're talking minutes. I mean, look at this timeline. It really puts it into perspective. You can go from zero to a fully working, shareable phishing link in less time than it takes to brew a pot of coffee. That's
Well, that's a pretty sobering thought, isn't it?
And that brings us full circle, right back to that quote at the beginning. The reason we walked through this isn't to scare you, it's to make you respect just how simple and fast this kind of threat can be. Because once you understand that, you can start building the right habits to protect yourself. Look, this knowledge is your power. So what do? First, always check the URL in the address bar before you type a password. Is it the real website or something that just looks right? Second, get suspicious of any unexpected links that create a sense of urgency, even if they seem to come from a friend. And third, please turn on two-factor authentication for every account that offers it. It is probably the single best shield you have. So I'll leave you with this question. Now that you've seen under the hood, now that you know how easily this can be done with free tools on a phone, what's the one habit, the one small change you're going to make to better protect yourself? Think about it. Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.